question for you. Do you think you actually wrapped your head around what crypto is? If you're anything like I was a few months ago, really, it's all a bit vague. There's, these names of coins flying around, there's charts doing roller coasters going up and down, and, there's some like Doge coins, some like animals going around as well. So yeah, it's all a bit confusing, I guess. And in this video, I'm trying to break down everything that I wish I knew about crypto in a very simple way, and kind of like everything you need to know about crypto to actually feel confident talking about the topic without sounding like, I don't know, one of those Twitter bros, like very cringe Twitter bros. And in case you're wondering if I actually invest in crypto, I think by now you should know. You probably have seen my video, which I'll link here as well. But yes, I am invested, and I can show exactly how I approach it at the end as well. Let's start with what crypto actually is, because until you get this, the rest makes zero sense. It's basically digital money that doesn't rely on banks or governments. Instead, it runs on something that is called blockchain, and you don't need to be a tech expert to get what that means, basically. So imagine a group chat where every single person sees and agrees on every money move that's ever been made, and it's recorded forever. That's how a blockchain works. So if you're thinking, okay, what's the point of that? Good, we're about to get into that in a second. So crypto wasn't created just for fun. It was born after the 2008 financial crisis, when people realized, maybe giving banks this much power over money wasn't the best possible idea they ever had. So the idea was simple. What if we could build money that no one controls? There's no printing presses, there's no inflation, just code and a community of people that really believe in this cause. And whether you think that that's revolutionary or ridiculous, and definitely at the time it sounded revolutionary and ridiculous, there's people that are actually using that in their day to day, and now a lot of people have created a lot of wealth for themselves through crypto. Most people use crypto in two ways. So to invest, like in digital stocks and the coins as well. That is probably the thing that most of you would be familiar with. And then to build also like apps and systems that don't need banks at all. So there's a whole world of DeFi, decentralized finance. I made a video about this recently. Or NFTs, like non-fungible tokens, which are basically art. You can think about that in that way. Or stacking, or DAOs. For example, I was part of a DAO community in London. I can do some deep dives into each of these later, but for now, you can just think about this as like environment that people are building based around crypto and blockchain as a technology. And before you think, okay, cool, I'm in, it sounds great, there's one massive thing that, of course, we need to think about. Crypto is not a chill, low-risk savings account, even though now there are stable coins, which are basically, coins like Bitcoin, etc., but pegged to the USD. So it's kind of like having, like your dollars, like money in your high-yield saving account. So I guess we are kind of getting a little bit more on the low-risk end of things, but, let's be honest, majority of when people think about crypto, they think about those typical like very volatile coins where crashes, very volatile coins where prices crash over time or go up over time as well. Scams are everywhere. Just think Coinbase. We don't need to be reminded about that. I think 68,000 people got their accounts broken into, basically, and their funds depleted from the Coinbase scandal that just happened. And also there's basically no safety net, right? If you lose your password, kind of game over. If your funds get stolen, yes, you must pray that Coinbase is gonna refund you, but there's no such thing like the FCA or anything like this. So I'll share how I personally handle this in a second. I treat crypto pretty much like venture capital, so not my main portfolio. It represents around 5 to 10% of my investments, depends on the day, basically. I focus on the top 10 coins, so for me that means Bitcoin and Ethereum mainly, and then I have Solana, I have Sui, which is more of an altcoin, and then I've actually also invested in Ripple very recently, because I plan on allocating roughly 5 to 10% of my crypto portfolio to Ripple. And I always try and ask, what's the actual value here beyond just, the number going up. So I'm really trying to understand what the technology that underlines the coin is for and what the actual real life usage of this could be. Like, for example, with Ethereum, like a lot of financial institutions going to use it for their own, infrastructure, etc. All I want, and also, of course, I avoid hype coins or trading. It's not my strength. It's not what I want to be spending my time or efforts in. So it just doesn't make sense for me. And if it all went to zero tomorrow, I'd be fine. That's kind of like the mindset that I keep as well. That's what helps me sleep better at night. So yeah, really, I can't emphasize it enough. We know that like every investment is risky. But especially when it comes to crypto, if you need the money in the short term, and by short term, I mean even like in 5 years, like even in 10 years, honestly, then that's probably not where you want to be putting it. Crypto should be a very long-term type of investment. You need to be ready to hold it through the ups and the downs, which there are going to be many. So just be prepared mentally, and that must be your kind of like your mentality going into it. So crypto doesn't have to feel like a foreign language. It's just tech, money, and human behavior at the end of the day. Are you curious now? Let me know. Are you more confused, or are you somewhere in between? I'm personally, as I told you guys, I don't mean for this channel to become like a crypto channel. That was never the intent. That's never what I wanted to do. But it's just something that has been top of mind for me lately as I've been thinking about my own investments, kind of reallocating my portfolio, and I've become more familiar with volatile, which I told you about in my previous video. So yeah, hopefully this was useful. I'll keep making some more videos on the topic, I'm sure, as I continue. But yeah, for me, crypto is just a means to hopefully what will be generational wealth. I think it's extremely interesting about technology, and I really encourage you guys to go and listen to Your Real Vision by Raoul Pal, because they do an amazing job at really linking together the liquidity aspect and how Bitcoin is really tied to that. And I'll show a graph here, actually, if I can find it. Maybe I'll insert it here. Francesca from the future inserted here. But it's basically this graph that shows how liquidity and Bitcoin have followed the exact same patterns in all these years, basically. So yeah, and Raoul Pal was saying, oh, maybe that was the answer all along. Maybe that is the answer all along. But anyways, until next time, might be a video not about crypto, who knows? But for now, this is very much top of mind for me. So I'll keep talking about it, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.